to another Talk Coventry City video. Today we are back with the weekly championship predictions. Obviously after last week I went up against Sophie as the first week. We both got 2 games correct, so we're both on 2 points. I'm on 2, the guests are on 2. She got the Coventry Bristol score correct, and she also got the Preston Swansea score correct. I managed to get the Watford Middlesbrough score correct, and the Wycombe v Rotherham game I also got correct. Today I've got a different guest. I've got Leon, one of my mates. How you doing, Leon?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks. He's done loads of research, so he's probably going to beat me this week, but we'll see. Let's get straight into it then. So on Friday, the first game of the weekend, it's Coventry City on Sky Sports. We go up against QPR. Obviously last week we lost 2-1 to Bristol City. I think there was lots of positives to take from that. But on Friday we're going up against a really solid QPR team who won 2-0 on the opening day against Nottingham Forest, a really good result. I think this is going to be a really tight game. I want Coventry to get the win, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Now for me, I'm going to go for more of a positive result for Coventry. I think that, as Matt said, there were positives in the game against Bristol City, but I feel like we gave ourselves much to do early on. I think if you go 1-0 down within the first minute or the first couple of minutes, already you're chasing the game, and the chances are you're really going to struggle to get back into it, and that's what Coventry did. Managed to get the goal back, but then once again Bristol scored, unfortunately. Positives: Matty Godden's back among the goals for Coventry, so hopefully he can have more, well, again, a big impact on the next game. And also QPR looked quite bleak for them, I'd like to say, at the start of the season, because they lost their best player, Eze, who went to Crystal Palace. But I'm going to go for a positive result for Coventry. I'm going to go for 2-1. I think if Coventry manage to take their chances, they could see a victory.
Brilliant. Okay, I'd love to hear that. I didn't want to sound biased by giving Coventry a result, but no, I'd happily take that. Moving on to the next game then, it's Blackburn Rovers versus Wycombe. Both got off to a losing start last weekend. Blackburn lost 3-2 at Bournemouth's ground. A really, really fantastic game of football that. Wycombe lost at home to Rotherham United in the last minute. I think it was the 92nd minute, so that's frustrating for them. I think Blackburn are going to edge it though at the weekend. I think Blackburn have got more about them than Wycombe, especially being at home. They've got attacking players like Adam Armstrong. I think they're going to come out on top, 2-1 winners. And yeah, I don't think Wycombe are going to get a result here.
No, that's a good shout. I had quite a similar prediction. Now Blackburn, obviously, as Matt said, lost 3-2 away to Bournemouth. Wasn't a bad result. They came from behind twice, but unfortunately, just the last 10 minutes, Bournemouth managed to score. Obviously, Bournemouth relegated from the Premier League as well. They managed to create a lot of chances actually against Bournemouth, with the better team even at 2-2 having more possession and more shots than Bournemouth. And they've also, as Matt said, got a formidable strike force with Adam Armstrong and Ben Brereton. Now with Wycombe, as Matt also said, they lost 1-0 to League One promoted side Rotherham. And Wycombe, unfortunately, they hit the woodwork, had a chance cleared off the line. Rotherham didn't have a shot on target until their goal in the 92nd minute. But I think for this game, Blackburn, they're going to have too much for Wycombe. I think the Championship's going to hit Wycombe hard and fast, and they're not going to be able to recover. And I think we could see Wycombe in a relegation scrap this season. So I'm going to go for Blackburn 3, Wycombe 0.
Oh, okay. The next game then is Brentford versus Huddersfield Town. Brentford obviously lost on the opening day to Birmingham. That mirrored the same result of the opening day of last season, where Birmingham backs to the wall performance and managed to grind out a 1-0 win against Brentford. But I do think Brentford are going to bounce back against this inconsistent Huddersfield Town, who lost 1-0 on the opening day to Norwich. Not too many positives to take from that, in my opinion. I think Brentford are going to come out on top here, 2-0.
Good prediction, Matt. Now Brentford, obviously a lot of you will know, missed out on promotion to the Premier League. Poor results after lockdown, which essentially costed them the chance to capitalise on West Brom's poor form at the end of the season. And as Matt of course read out, they lost 1-0 to Birmingham. They lost, as Matt also said, last season. They missed a big chance from Brian Mbeumo, and Josh De Silva hit the post in the first half. Sergio Canos hit the bar with an overhead kick, and Brentford dominated in the game. And I think also with Brentford, Ollie Watkins is a huge miss going to Aston Villa, and with Saïd Benrahma also potentially going to be going on a transfer somewhere else. He's not left officially, but it looks like he's pretty much gone. Now with Huddersfield, as Matt called out, they lost 1-0. Norwich very much dominated the game, took them until the 80th minute to score. And Huddersfield also got new head coach in Carlos Corberán, who was actually described by Marcelo Bielsa as a very talented coach. Now for this game, earlier in the week I was thinking maybe Brentford could struggle a little bit, but however after last night, them beating Southampton in the Carabao Cup, I'm going to back a Brentford 2-0 victory.
Oh, same as me then. Okay, moving on to the next game, we have Luton Town versus Derby County. Luton Town, great result for them last week. Obviously, they staged a remarkable comeback at the end of last season to survive. And then on the opening day, they picked up a 1-0 win away at Barnsley. Really, really good result for them. As for Derby County, not a good result on the opening day. They lost 2-0 at home to Reading. A really poor result that. And I think they need to get something here, but I don't think they're going to get the win. I think this will be an even game, actually. I've gone for 1-1.
Very similar to me, Matt. I've also gone with a 1-1. As called out before, Luton, 1-0 victory away at Barnsley. Very cagey game, both sides only having one shot in target in 90 minutes. They both lack quality in the final third, but they also have a good striker to put away chances in James Collins. Now, they managed to escape relegation last season in dramatic style by picking up 11 points out of a possible 15 in the last 5 games. And Derby, 10th place finish last season, 6 points off the playoffs. Not a bad season, with Wayne Rooney at the helm in midfield as well. But they didn't create much in the game, actually, against Reading on the opening day. They're still a good side, and I think they need to bounce back. But as Matt said, I don't know if this is the game. I've also gone with a 1-1 draw.
Okay, well, he's really done his research, hasn't he? Next game then is Middlesbrough versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth picked up that 3-2 win on the opening day, like I said, against Blackburn. Middlesbrough lost 1-0 at Watford on the Friday night game. And there's been some recent news come out that Neil Warnock has actually contracted coronavirus. So I believe the game's still going ahead, but he's just obviously going to be self-isolating at home. I don't expect too much from this game, actually. I've gone for a 0-0 draw. I think it's going to be a bit of a stalemate. I think Bournemouth have got attacking players, but I think Middlesbrough can definitely defend a game quite well, and I think it's going to be a 0-0 draw.
Well, I couldn't disagree more with Matt. I think Bournemouth should have the firepower this season to hopefully propel them towards those automatic spots or potentially towards the playoffs. I think they've got an excellent player in Dominic Solanke. Unfortunately, didn't quite live up to the hype in the Premier League, coming from Liverpool over to Bournemouth. And I think Middlesbrough, little bit of a shaky start to the season, and I can't see them picking up more of a positive result in this one. So I'm going to go for AFC Bournemouth, a 2-1 win.
Okay then. Moving on to the next game, it's the early game on the Saturday, Nottingham Forest versus Cardiff, 2 big clubs in this division. Nottingham Forest lost at QPR, like I said, on the opening day, while Cardiff lost at home to Sheffield Wednesday in what was a bit of a shock result, really. I think this could be a tight game, but I think Nottingham Forest are going to come out on top, slight home advantage and that. They've got some decent players. I think they're going to come out on top here, 1-0.
Right, so with Nottingham Forest and Cardiff both having quite a poor start to this season in the Championship, I think both teams will look to bounce back. Both look to have a positive result. However, I can see this being a draw. Both teams looking to try and create chances, but in the end I think it'll be a bit of a stalemate. I'll go for a 2-2.
Oh, okay, an exciting game there. The next game then is Norwich City versus Preston North End. Now, Norwich picked up an away win at Huddersfield, like we said earlier, that 1-0 away win, which is really good to get them started, to get their first points on the board. Going up against Preston, who lost 1-0 against Swansea on the opening day. I think Norwich are going to get the result here. I think Preston will give them a good game, but I'm going for Norwich 2, Preston 1.
Like that from Matt. Nice positive result for Norwich. I think for this season for Norwich, it's all about trying to get automatic promotion back to the Premier League. Still kept their very strong squad of players: Todd Cantwell, Timu Puki, Emiliano Buendia. I think another player to look out for this year is Adam Ida. I'm not sure. Norwich fans will probably say in the comments how to pronounce it properly.
It's Ida, isn't it?
Adam Ida.
Yeah.
He's a very excellent young player for Ireland, and I think this season could see him scoring quite a few goals in the Championship. And like Matt said, I think it's kind of pointing towards a positive result for Norwich, and so I'm going to go for more of a solid one. I'm going to go for Norwich 2, Preston 0.
Okay. The next game then is Reading versus Barnsley Football Club. Now, once again, Barnsley staged a remarkable comeback at the end of last season to survive, and it's going to be a big season for them again, whether they can survive. They didn't get off to the best start. They obviously lost 1-0 at home to Luton, which is, a bit of a disastrous start really against, another team that's probably going to be down there this season. Reading, obviously the best start they could have asked for, a 2-0 win away at Derby. What a great result that was for them. So I think they're going to get another win here. I think they're going to beat Barnsley 2-1.
I completely concur with Matt. I think Reading, after the excellent start, I think they're just going to hopefully build on that, and I think they'll have too much, unfortunately. And so I am going to go for Reading 3, Barnsley 1.
Okay. Moving on to the next game then, Rotherham United versus Millwall Football Club. Now, Rotherham United got off to a great start with that late winner against Wycombe on the opening day. They now host a Millwall team that drew 0-0 with Stoke on the opening day. I don't know what to think of this game. I think it could be quite tight. Definitely could go either way. I've gone for Rotherham 0, Millwall 1. I don't think there's going to be many goals in this. It could definitely be 1-0 the other way, but I've gone for Millwall to get the 3 points here.
Good shout, Matt. I think last week Rotherham playing Wycombe, I think that kind of played to their strengths a little bit, where both teams, they don't really get the experience of playing the Championship big hitters on the first day. They don't get the likes of maybe Stoke or Nottingham Forest or Cardiff, maybe. And so I think that kind of played to their disadvantage a little, despite picking up a positive result against Wycombe. And I think Millwall being quite a strong Championship team, a lot of pedigree in this league, I can see this probably playing out as in for a draw. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw.
Okay, the next game then is Sheffield Wednesday versus Watford. Both teams got off to a great start. Watford with that 1-0 win against Middlesbrough on the Friday night. Cathcart scoring the goal. And Sheffield Wednesday surprised everyone by getting off to that winning start 2-0 away at Cardiff. A great result for them. Can Gary Monk steer them to safety is the question this season. I think this is probably the most attractive fixture of the weekend. I think this has got like real quality written all over it. I've gone for Sheffield Wednesday 1, Watford 2. I do think Watford are going to win this, but Sheffield Wednesday will probably give them a good game.
I think I'd like to back that opinion completely from that. I think Watford, coming down from the Premier League, truly disappointing, considering the players they've got, the calibre of players of who they had. They had Abdoulaye Doucouré, who's now gone to Everton. They had Gerard Deulofeu, Roberto Pereira, Troy Deeney. Those kind of players, they are Premier League players. I don't think they're necessarily suited to the Championship, or I think they'll have too much quality, and I can see them maybe having just a bit too much for Sheffield Wednesday on their day. Despite Sheffield Wednesday having an excellent result on the opening day, I think this will be Watford 3, Sheffield Wednesday 2.
Okay, the next game then is Swansea City versus Birmingham City. Both teams getting off to a winning start on the opening day. Great results for both of them. Birmingham beating Brentford 1-0, Swansea beating Preston 1-0. So both teams are going to be looking to try and get maximum points again. I think it'll be a tight game. I think Birmingham might surprise a few teams this season. I think I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here. Swansea have got a lot of quality going forwards, but I think Birmingham might just surprise them and get a draw.
Good prediction, Matt. I think with Swansea, unfortunately last season, having just missed out in the playoffs, they managed to obviously get there in dramatic style on the last day of the Championship. And a Birmingham team who last season were a little bit inconsistent in games. And I think for this game, I think we could probably see quite a cagey draw. Some of the other games in the Championship. I think both teams, as Matt pointed out, I think both have got quality. However, I think neither will have the edge on each other. So I'm going to say 1-1.
Okay, then the final game is Stoke City versus Bristol City. Now Bristol, Coventry lost to at the weekend 2-1. I didn't think they were that amazing. I think Coventry did control large spells of the game, but Bristol just had that experience. They knew how to grind a result out. I think Stoke City are a good team as well. Obviously 0-0 at Millwall. Some people have tipped them to have a good season, so this could be quite an interesting game. I've gone for 1-1, so I think the spoils will be shared.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with Matt on that one. I think Coventry were a bit unlucky against Bristol on open day. As pointed out earlier, Bristol scored quite early on to put the match more in their favour. But I think Stoke, a good side. I think Stoke are kind of looking for that turn in the Championship. They're kind of looking to try and propel them back up, because when they came down from the Premier League, all they started to do is sink. And I think when you start sinking in the lower league, especially from the Championship, you just find that you drop straight back down, even some teams down to League 2. And I think this game could probably end in a draw. I could see. I think Stoke, I don't think they obviously don't have the firepower as they once did back when in the Premier League, or when they first came down from the Premier League into the Championship. And so I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw.
So that concludes today's video then, guys. Make sure to leave a comment below if you agree or disagree. It's fine to have a different opinion. It is football. You know, some of these results might be right on, some of them might be way off. Obviously like as well and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.